Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh, and whatever special guest he has today, you can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good, and follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the program. Pete Oakley is our guest today. He is a major champion. And the story behind the story of him winning the 2004 British Senior Open is incredible from a number of standpoints. First time a qualifier ever did that. Club pro. Good stories about caddies that he's had, where he's been around. He's won the Delaware State Open 6 different times. Just really a life in golf. Our kind of guy, the kind of guy that we want here on Party Time, My Golf Story, because his golf story is his life story. And that's exactly what we want from everybody. And that's why I think people keep tuning in and watching this program and listening to the podcast. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course that's not a beer or something named after a crustacean or a time of day, Party is the drink for you. For golfers by golfers. And a big thanks to our real estate pros from suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. If your dream is to live in a golf-related community or a golf-related resort, no better place in the greater Sarasota area, and nobody better to help you out with that than Gene and Vince Visicaro. We'll have their information scrolling across and other places where you can find Party available at different places. But enough about that. Let's bring the man of the hour on. Here's Pete Oakley. Pete, it's so good to see you. I've been looking forward to this interview for quite some time. Let's just get to the good stuff.
Right.
20 years, coming up on the 20-year anniversary of you winning the British Senior Open. How often do you think about it?
It probably occurs to me at least once every day. It's been 20 years, but, I still see people who I've known through the years who I haven't seen for a while who congratulate me. And it feels like it was yesterday. It is my moment in the sun in golf. And it was an amazing ride.
Yeah, it sure is. Let's talk about the present. We'll go back to that, but let's unpack a couple things. Play golf today, still playing golf. Good golf, I assume. What is the state of your game?
Yeah, my game is fairly good. I'm 75 years old, but strangely, with the advancements in technology and me being rather physically fit, I really haven't lost any yardage through the years. It seems like my age went right along with golf technology. And, I still hit it out there about 240 to 70 yards on dry days and 40 on a wet day. And so I still hit the ball like I always have. It's one of the great things about golf. You can continue competing until you're just about a step in the box.
Technology has been so good for the game. Unlike you, I have not kept up my distance despite the technology. So maybe you can help me out with that. Where are you joining us from? Where are you right now? Where is, do you have 2 camps that you live in? Are you snowbirding or are you a Floridian now?
I am a Floridian now. I had way back right after I won the British Senior Open, I had 2 houses that I was paying mortgages on. And I sold, I had them both up for sale. Whichever one sold, I was going to go live in the other one. And fortunately, my house in Delaware sold. So I moved down here. I'm in Palm City, Florida, which is an adjacent community to Stuart, Florida. and northern Miami, a lot of people like to say, but because the population's moving on up in the state of Florida. But Palm City and, 15 minutes from PGA Village, where I'm a member and where I play all the time. And life is good for Pete Oakley.
Yeah, life is good. You look good. You're not kidding when you talk about keeping yourself in shape. I wouldn't have guessed you were older than 65, but you said you're 75. So I'm just going to take your word on it. Pete, let's go back in time. Where does your golf story begin and at what age?
Well, I started playing golf when I was 11 years old. And my brother and I, David Oakley, who basically is the reason I went to Europe to play, he was a very good player. He won 4 times in Europe and encouraged me to follow him there, which I basically have done all my life, is follow David in his footsteps. And I do miss him. He went away when he was 61, and here I am, 75, and he's been gone for 14 years. So we grew up together and played golf together. He was 4 years older than I, and we went to this place called International Town and Country Club in Fairfax, Virginia. And we started playing golf there, and we're under 2 golf pros, Billy Wolf and Jimmy Belizzi. I know a lot of people still remember Jimmy Belizzi as the bottle swilling golf professional from the Middle Atlantic region, who was instrumental in getting David and I to learn the game, and that's where we got started. And it was quite some time ago.
Pete Oakley is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks, and also the real estate pros of Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro from suncoastdreams.com. I want to see if I can drill down a little bit on that brotherly dynamic, because our previous guest, Will Riley, talked about having a brother and being competitive with them, but also being inspired by that. Is that your story? But also tell me if it ever got a little bit crusty and a little too competitive. I want to know that too.
Sure. Well, Dave was 4 years older than I and was always the better player. He won the Maryland State Amateur Championship. He won the District of Columbia Amateur Championship twice. Went to the University of Florida and was a walk-on at the University of Florida with the likes of Andy North and Steve Melnick and those guys, and played on the NCAA in the NCAA championship with the University of Florida, and got me an out-of-state waiver to go to the University of Florida, which I did for 2 years. But he was really a good player, and I was never up to snuff with Dave. He was always a better player, but then suddenly, as I got older and came into my 20s, and he turned professional, and I turned professional, about 3 or 4 years later, and I caught up with him actually, and but he was there at Royal Portrush, him and his wife Doris and son Christopher. As when I won, that was my family that was with me there, and he was playing in the tournament also. He played in the British Senior Open that year, and in fact was a runner-up a few years earlier. And he came out on the green, and he was crying, and I was so excited I couldn't draw any tears yet, and it was just a happening thing.
Did he tell you he was proud of you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was very proud of me, and, he wished it was him. I have to be honest. He wished it was him, and it was such a strange occurrence. Some of my fellow neophytes on the European tour, I just barely qualified to be on the European Senior Tour at the time. And the stories they were telling me is they were in the locker room all huddled together and looking and watching me on that last putt on the last hole. And when it went in, they started turning over chairs and a couple tables in the locker room there at Portrush. And, it was happening.
I heard similar stories in the Philadelphia section about club pros watching you and just rooting for you and believing you could do it, but almost not believing that this is about to happen. And it did. So let's just back it up a little bit. You had to qualify for it, and that wasn't easy. And then you had an interesting caddy on the bag. Why don't you pick up the story from there?
Yeah, I was watching my shekels while I was over there, and was pulling my own cart during the qualifying round. I had to qualify despite being 21st on the European Order of Merit at that year. They took the top 20 at that time, so I missed it by one. But I had to go out and qualify, and was pulling my cart. It was rather a rainy morning, but I made it around the front nine, and I was one under par, and feeling pretty good about myself and about my chances, because I knew you had to shoot par or better, and or par or one or two over maybe to qualify. And as I was leaving the ninth green to go to the 10th, a fellow came up to me. His name's Mervyn Steen. And he came up and he looked me in the eye and said, "Mr. Oakley?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "My name is Mervyn Steen, and your brother is staying with me at my sister's B&B. He told me to come out here and try and caddy for you." And I said, well, Mervyn, I'm one under par right now. I'm not sure I want to upset anything or make any changes. And he said, "Well, do you mind if I watch you?" I said, "Well, you're free to do whatever you'd like, Mervyn." So we started walking down the 10th fairway, and I wasn't sure if you could hire a caddy in the middle of a round, but I asked my fellow players, and they said, "Sure, I think you can. There's no problem." I said, "Well, Mervyn, if you're going to walk around, you might as well, if we happen to qualify, we'll get to know one another here during this back nine." And so he started pulling my cart for me, and we went to the 10th, and I had about a 60-foot putt on the 10th hole, and I asked Mervyn to take a look at it, and he said, "Well, it starts off a little left, and then at the end it'll go right." And I made this putt from 60 feet, and I was glad I had him.
And then he was there to stay. What did he do for you? How much did he help you with the numbers, the reads, or was it more just like a presence, a calming spirit about him?
He was that calming spirit. That's a perfect definition of Mervyn and his manners with me. Upon occasion, I'd ask him, about a yardage. He knew Royal Portrush. He'd lived there all his life and played there. And, I'd ask him where this ball would bounce to, or where that one might come into play. And he was there to help me. And, but he was a great calming presence, and just a good friend to have around with you while you're, playing in a high stakes game.
Sometimes that's all it takes, doesn't it?
Right.
Just having somebody that says the right thing or doesn't say something, just says, you just play your game, laddie. Good job on the accent, by the way, of Mervyn. So take me down, final couple holes. What's going on? How you feeling? And I want details. If you're throwing up in your mouth or you're losing control of something, thoughts in your head, let me know.
You got it. It was strangely I was intense, but it was nothing like I've been more nervous playing a $5 Nassau. Honestly, I was intense, and I knew what was going on. And suddenly we come to this hole. There's like the 14th or so. They called it Calamity Jane. Wind is howling, and it howled that whole time. We Oakleys are good in the mud. We can play when it's nasty. Anyway, it was a quite a par 4 or par 3 hole, and I hit my weak 3-wood and got it on the green about 40 feet above the hole, and it had a putt that had to break at least 8 feet. And I started it out there and rolled it around, and it goes in. And there was a scoreboard there that I happened to look at as I'm leaving to go to the 15th tee, and it showed my name at the top of the list at 5 under par, and the next closest was 2 under par. And I'm thinking, my gosh, I got a shot at this.
Right. Are you doing math in your head, or are you smacking some sense back into yourself to stay in the moment?
I was just staying in the moment and trying to be smart. And, all the cliches were occurring to me. I was playing with Mark McNulty and Mark James, who was a Ryder Cup captain. And Mark McNulty is a household name in South Africa. He's a great player. And, I was just with those guys, and one of those guys during that week. And I had some great conversations with Don Pooley and Tom Kite. And, but yeah, I was more nervous before I teed off than I was at that moment in time. And the 15th hole is a rather simple par 4. You just got to drive it down there anywhere. And, you're going to be hitting a short iron to the green, which I did and made par. And then my nemesis was the 16th hole. It was quite a par 4, about 425 yards or so, with a bunker on the right that I failed to avoid all but once thus far. And lo and behold, I hit it right in there again. And the only shot I had was to go out to the left. So I did. And then I had a full 5-iron to the green for my third shot, and got it on the green somehow and 2-putted, and knew that, well, you're no longer 5 under, you're 4 under. And there was another scoreboard that showed me as having a 1-shot lead now, because Tom Kite and Eduardo Romero had both birdied 17. So I got to play 17 and 18 with a 1-shot lead.
Sometimes that's the toughest thing is when you know what you got to do, just making par. You got through 17. Okay. What happened on 18?
18 was just a bear of a par 4 with a bunker right in the middle of the fairway. It didn't seem like a very well-designed hole, honestly, but I know you just want to make sure you don't go in that bunker, because it's a 1-stroke penalty to hit in that bunker. And they've changed the course since then. When Lowry won, it was these 2 holes, 17 and 18, were on the other golf course. But anyway, for me, it was a tough hole. I hit a poor tee shot, really, but it ran down there to where I had like 190 yards to the green, and a howling wind from right to left, and a gaping bunker on the front left part of the green I knew I wanted to avoid. So I knew the ball was running, and I had a 5-iron in my hands, and I hit it. I just wanted to hit it out to the right and hopefully let it run on to the green, and hold it slightly. And, I'm thinking maybe this might be great. It could roll all the way up, miss that bunker, and run up on the green, but it didn't. It went in this bunker. And so
stop there. So
right.
What's your initial thought there? You're in the bunker, and you got to get it up and down. Are you feeling pressure?
Oh yeah. I'm feeling like, this, you're doing what everyone is expecting you to do. As Kite and Romero, I'm sure, were on the practice range and must have seen it or heard it, and probably started hitting balls more rapidly at that moment. But my bunker game was strong. I'm pretty good out of the bunkers even now. And when I went up there, I couldn't see the pin. The pin was about 90 feet away from where this bunker lay. And it was a downhill shot to the green. And anyway, I got in there, and all I wanted to make sure I did was get over that lip, which I did. And it felt good, and it kind of looked good. And, I quickly ran out of the bunker and looked at it. And there it was, some 9 or 10 feet past the hole, and in pretty good shape to make a par.
Okay, so pick it up from there. So you're looking at it. You know what the putt means. Do you have a conversation with your caddy about it? Are you thinking about childhood? This is the putt of my life. I've made 1,000 of these on the putting green. What's happening?
Well, things started happening rather quickly at that time. I definitely called Mervyn in to have a look with me after McNulty had putted up, and Mark James had putted up and tapped in, and now I'm the last one. This is the last shot, and I knew where I stood. I looked at the scoreboard to the right. It's in this amphitheater-like area, and there's a huge crowd and bleachers, and what you dream of if you're a young golfer. And gee, I got this putt to win the U.S. Open, but for me it was the 2004 Senior British Open, and I was very much aware, and went and asked Mervyn. He said, I think it's a little bit on the left. I believe it's going to move a wee bit to the right. And I stood in there and stroked it, just snuck in the left side, and then pandemonium ensues. I knew I'd won, and that was it.
That's not it. Okay. When you're standing up, how did your hands feel?
I have to tell you, Kevin, it was, they always use this expression too, the big guys. It was a surreal moment. I didn't know I had hands, actually. It was, I was just kind of felt like I was an out of body experience in watching that this putt. But yeah, I did know that I've had putts like this before, and I honestly can say I was just not all that nervous. I'm also a Christian man, and I was talking with the Lord the entirety of that British Senior Open Championship from the first hole to the 72nd hole. And I did some amazing things during those 72 holes, I can tell you.
Well, are you praying to God over the ball? Are you like, God, please, just one more?
Well, you could say that for sure. I said, Lord, help me here, calm me here. I've been doing this all day, and you've been with me the entirety of this tournament. And, I knocked it in. And then it was, oh, man. And I made a mistake. As soon as it went in, I said, I dropped my putter and it does a somersault. And I said, hot damn, hot damn. And somebody from the Philadelphia section asked me afterwards, I thought you were a Christian man. Did you really say G-O-D, damn? And I said, no. I said, hot damn. Are you kidding? He's the reason I made the putt.
What did Mervin say?
Oh, Mervin, he was excited. He was jumping around and hugging me, and we were having mutual hugs everywhere. And then my brother comes up on the green, and it was like a group hug. And and then shortly thereafter, I'm standing holding the trophy, and they're asking me questions. And I can remember the first thing I said was, I cannot believe my life is changing for me right before my very eyes at this very moment. And the next thing that occurred to me was, my kids' college education is now paid for.
Oh, that's the best part right there.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Pete Oakley is our guest here. He's the 2004 British Senior Open champion. What a thrill. I felt like I was there with you at the time. Let's back it. Tell me about the family. I know you have some golfing sons, and how important is golf? You talked about your brother. How important is golf to the family dynamic?
Oh man, it's all important. I had a job at a small club in the middle of the state of Delaware called Shawnee Country Club, and I was the head pro there. And I wasn't at the time, but that's where the kids grew up. Zachary and JJ both grew up there, and I caddied for them, the two of them, when they were playing in the 10 and under championship, and Zach hits it on the 9th green. It's only a 9-hole tournament for him. And JJ hits it in the bunker, and they're tied. It was really thrilling, actually. And JJ, like his old man, hits this bunker shot and almost holes it. And Zach 3-putted, and Zach's the older brother. And Zach is also the current Philadelphia section PGA champion in the section just this past year. And Zach's actually the better player now. But at that time, JJ was like a little bandy rooster, having beaten his brother. And so I had the dilemma of trying to congratulate JJ on one hand and console Zachary on the other hand, because he was balling. He did not like that at all. And that was it. We grew up there. The boys grew up there and learned to play golf there.
Fantastic. So when you have family get-togethers, is it competitive? Is there trash talking going on? Is there a wager?
Oh, there's all kinds of trash talking all the time. And I'm the first one that gives it to both of them. I say, come on, boys, you can play a little bit, can't you? And then they get mad at me, and they say, oh, come on, Dad. Now they can drive it past me, by about 100 yards each of them. But back then they couldn't hit it very far. And I was saying, you keep hitting that ball like that, Zach, JJ, you'll be hitting that thing up there with me before long. So we had some fun with golf and camaraderie, and and Sandy, their mother at the time, was and still is their mother, she was involved also, and it was just a great family dynamic, really, just playing golf and being in golf.
We know you, Pete, for your success with the British Senior Open and numerous other events, Delaware State Opens, Philadelphia Opens. You've been Player of the Year in the Philadelphia PGA section more than once. But you know the grind. of being a club pro? What was it like for you?
Oh, it was, I left my job there at Shawnee Country Club and ventured out into playing professionally. And I was just doing a little bit of teaching and followed my brother over to Europe and tried to qualify. I qualified my very first time, but that was another miracle, that qualifying. I was coming down a stretch. I know I had to shoot. I had to shoot one under par from the seventh hole. And I was playing very poorly and was starting to stress. And then on the eighth hole, I hit this tee shot and I go up there and I've got like a 9-iron to the green and I scull my 9-iron. I'm going, oh my gosh, don't go into the gunch behind the green. And there was a man standing there beside the green. All of a sudden I see him raise his hands way up in the air and I'm going, what? And my ball had struck the pin in the air and falls into the hole for a 2. And I mean, it was an instant 5 had it not hit the flag and gone in. And from there, I made pars and barely qualified. They took 8 players qualified, and I qualified tied for 5th, and it was 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And so I qualified with that because of that one shot. Another miracle in my life as a golf professional.
Isn't that amazing? Sometimes it just all falls into place. But it wouldn't happen if you didn't put the toil in, put the work in. Good luck comes to those that work hard, and you take it when you can get it, because we all know that golf can humble you. Pete, oh my goodness, I forgot to ask you, after you won the British, Arnold Palmer got involved. What happened?
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to be invited to play in the USGA Senior Open the very next week at Belle Reve. And they asked me if I would like to play. And, yes, I would like to play. And so, I get a $2,500 plane ticket to go to Belle Reve. And I'm there, and my clubs didn't make it. But I was there, and I'm in the clubhouse talking with Ellen of the Philadelphia Section PGA for some reason. And I just said, hold on a minute, because I saw a presence come through the front door and start walking towards me and looking at me and gaining eye contact with me. And I stood up and I said, hang on. And it was Arnold Palmer. And Arnold Palmer says to me, Pete Oakley, congratulations. I am so happy for you. Shook my hand with those great big silversmith hands of his and started chatting with me about his dentist who lived in Wilmington, Delaware. And
Howdy Giles. Howdy Giles has been, he hasn't been a guest yet, but he's been mentioned on the podcast before with right. John Riley. Yes, he wrote the book, A Will to Win, and also Porky Oliver's book. So back to Arnold. I can't get enough Arnold.
Oh yeah, he was, and I got to know him a little bit, and saw him through the years, and I saw him with his second wife. We're playing in the MasterCard tournament. If you win a major on the Champions Tour, you get a 5-year exemption into the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii. What a benefit! And so I was there, and I see him, and I'm in a hot tub with Arnold Palmer and his new wife. He got married there in Hawaii.
Whoa. You're in a hot tub with Arnold?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know. We're out in the middle of this beautiful resort in Kona, Hawaii, the Sheraton 4-star or 5-star. And, I was in there first. And in comes Arnie and his bride. And, he had just finished playing. He was tired and, kind of like me right now. He was kind of groveling to come into the hot tub, but it was Arnold Palmer, by God.
If Arnold Palmer wants to come in the hot tub that you're sitting in, he's coming in.
Yeah.
Did he have a beer in his hand?
I think he'd already had something a little stronger, honestly.
How many people can say they've been in a hot tub with Arnold Palmer? Pete Oakley.
Yeah, right.
You may be the last person I think would be in a hot tub with Arnold, but it makes for a great story. Hey, tell me this. Tell me about the Rookery. How did it come about?
Yeah, when I was had left my job at Shawnee. The green superintendent there, Chris Atkins, who was like star years, light years ahead of anybody in the business of being a green superintendent. I knew he was going places, and I said, Chris, you ever go anywhere? You let me know. And must be 8 years later, because he'd left there and went somewhere else. And he asks me, he says, hey, I'm thinking about getting up a golf venture here, right off Highway 1 going into Rehoboth. I found a farmer there, Albert Lank, who's willing to sell his farm. And I want to put a golf course up there. And here's all the projections I've made for it. And it was very detailed, where if you invest $150,000 to buy one share, you can be an investor with us. And so, this was like the club pro's dream, the possibility of owning your own golf course, or at least being a part of it. And to make a long story short, Chris and I designed the golf course, gave ourselves 9 months to sell 22 shares in the golf course, which we did in 2 weeks. And we designed it, built it on August of 1999, and opened it in August of 2020. And it is doing fantastic. And I got to tip my hat to COVID, because COVID has helped golf immensely. And,
oh, yes.
But that was my second dream come true, is to be involved in that venture. And it's just been great, and we're still there. My kids go out there. We gave every owner a option. Well, not an option. You're automatically, every cart you want, every range bar you want, you just go on out there and do it. And so it's really a boon to the Oakley family to have that in our duffel bag as a place to go and play whenever we feel like it. And it's a great little golf course right there in the heart of Delaware, on 9 miles north of Rehoboth.
Yeah, that is cool, and that's a legacy you leave behind.
Oh boy!
Wow, that's cool. Can I come sometime?
Absolutely, man. You can bring yourself and 3 others while you're on me.
Perfect. Love it. Hey, you played a recent round of golf match with Gary Koch, formerly of NBC Sports. Did better than most come up at any time?
Oh man, Gary, he's just a wonderful gentleman and a great announcer. And I've seen him through the years, on the Champions Tour, he was there, and over in Europe, he was there. And I'll never forget playing with him in Minnesota, and we were going down a hole, and I was just being honest with him and saying, it was, I was a one blessed man to have won the British Senior Open. And, it sure is a lot harder out here than it was that time. And he was just an encourager. And he said, well, you know what? You won it. You are a Senior British Open champion, and no one can deny you that. And by God, I've heard a lot about you, and you're a hell of a player. I mean, Gary Koch. And so, I know he's won 6 times and was a standout at the University of Florida, and, just a true gentleman. And I'm glad to know him.
I miss him on the broadcast. Did he make any putts? And you said, Gary, that was better than most? Because I hear he hears that all the time.
Oh, I'm sure he does. It's it's an iconic slogan now. Everybody knows who said it, and everybody knows who it was about. And Tiger Woods, the 17th hole at the Players. So it was. He's just a super guy. I'd love to hear his insights into the game too.
Yeah. Well, as much as I remember, just the putt going in, it's you can't separate it with Gary's voice. Better than most. How about in? Better than most. Pete, tell me this. Pete Oakley, the 2004 British Senior Open champion, is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story. I know you love golf, but did you ever hate it? Be honest.
Oh, yeah. As any struggling tour professional will tell you, there are times when you feel like hanging it up. But I heard an expression one time, and it rings true with me. You always hear, well, you either love it or you hate it, but you love to hate it. And, if all you need is just, if you had a terrible day, you go out and say, well, better days are coming. And sure enough, they do, so golf is a fickle sport. And right now I'm having trouble putting, and these 75-year-old nerves are not what they used to be, but I still think I'm going to make putts. So, you just keep at it.
That's what you got to do, because I'm struggling with the putting too. I like your optimism. I want that to jump through the screen and come off on me. One other thing, memories of Big Bill Hyman. You played a round of golf with him when he was 71 years old at Huntington Valley Country Club. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
He was another great man and another great personality to be fortunate enough to play with. He's 71 years old, and I was a hotshot player, a club pro in the Philadelphia section PGA at the Hyman Open, named after him. And we go out there and play, and he's just very straightforward and a straight shooter, down the middle, and longer than me at 71. I was, 28 or so at the time, and hit better irons, putted better, and shot 71, shot his age that day. And, I was just watching. It was a magnificent thing to see that there could be such a player, never turned pro, kind of like, I guess, Jay Siegel monitored himself or made himself after him. And, I guess insurance is a business to be in if you're a good golfer.
How do you say no to an insurance deal when you can play golf at any number, Aronimink with Jay Siegel, maybe Pine Valley or Big Bill Hyman anywhere? It's like, Of course you're saying yes to the deal. All right, Pete, we're getting a little tight on time here. Last question here.
Yeah.
What would life be like without golf in it for you? Can you even imagine it? Can you even go there?
I really cannot imagine golf not being there. I try to adhere to the statement and the philosophy of golf is not who I am, but it's what I do. And unfortunately, being a Christian man also is a major thing. I don't know, maybe I could be a pastor or something, but I am definitely reflecting on this game as being in my heart and soul, and and the Lord is in there helping me at it.
It's a gift from God, and it's the gift that keeps on giving, one that you've shared with a lot of people with your success, with your instruction, with the rookery, with your sons, the time you had with your brother. But Pete, that's everybody's story, isn't it? Kind of, sort of. It's a game for all of us.
Yeah. It's, you can keep playing. I'm 75 and still competitive, and was thankful today to have beaten Jerry Tucker, who is my nemesis, great friend, but nemesis. He beats me like a drum most of the time. And, I nipped him by a shot today. So, hey, I still get the jitters and the jollies from this game.
That's fantastic. Hey, Pete, really enjoyed the time. I wish you nothing but success and good health. Maybe you got one more big win in you, a super senior event, if they even create that category or whatever.
I keep thinking and praying about it.
Okay. Hey, come on back sometime. All right.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for the game. Pete Oakley, the 2004 British Senior Open champion, has been our guest. Big thanks to him. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for an alternative on the golf course to beer or something named after a crustacean or time of day, Party is for you. And if your dream is to live on a golf course in the Southwest Florida area, especially around Sarasota, Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro, they're your golf real estate pros, stationed at Lakewood National Golf Club, the #1 golf community in all of Florida. For Pete Oakley, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf
Kevin.
Story. Thanks, Pete. All right.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.
This is Vince Fizzicaro and Gene Walsh with the SuncoastDreams.com real estate team at Fine Properties. We've helped hundreds of families find their dream homes in golf and resort communities in Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton, Sarasota, Parrish, Venice, and the surrounding areas.
Let us be your guides to finding your dream home here as well. Learn more at SuncoastDreams.com or call us at 941-220-4000.